There's been a lot of talk about the need for innovation. On Canada One, we're going to start looking at practical, simple ways that small companies can use technology to be more innovative and more productive in their operations. So along those lines, today we're going to introduce you to the Dymo LabelWriter 450 Turbo. Now, the LabelWriter may not seem like the most obvious place to start off for innovation. The reason we've picked this is because of some of the creative and interesting things that you can do with this product. So to get started, the device itself is quite simple. We can open it up and put in a roll of labels. The labels go to some different widths, and we've got a simple indicator light that tells us whether the labels are loaded or not, and it plugs into our computer using a USB connection. Now, that USB connection, just a quick tip, you must install the software before the first time you connect this product to your computer, so please make sure to do that. Now, the software is really the heart of what makes this an interesting product.
So let's take a look at the software that comes with the actual printer, because we think this is where the LabelWriter stands apart. So there's the standard thing you'd expect, which is the ability to come in here and adjust the label and to change the font styling and the centering and the positioning of the label. But over on the left, you'll see that we not only have the ability to select from a large range of different preset label styles, but we can also come into Designer and assign objects. So let's take a look at that. So what we're going to do, first of all, some of the label styles that we have would be the traditional label. We can scroll down and you'll see that there's a variety of shipping labels, and we can even design things like checklists so that we can make sure that people are taking care of everything that's needed when the shipment goes out. We can scroll down a little further and you'll see that there's name badges if you're holding events, and there are CD covers, and there's business cards even, and price tags. So let's go ahead and use a standardized shipping label. And we're going to come over into the designer mode. Now, what's interesting with what I just did there, I don't know if you caught that, but when I select something that has an address on it, it's already recognizing that this is my address. So it's actually smart enough to know that I typed an address in there, and so this is actually going to be reflected regardless of which label I happen to pick, as long as the address was reflected on the label I selected. Now, if I come and pick a standard label that has no design, like this one, it won't appear because it's not trying to put that on. But we can actually go assign those objects using the designer mode. To add an object to our label, we simply double click it. So if we want our address to appear, we would just put it in there. Maybe we want to position that a little bit differently and change the size of it. But we can also add some other really interesting smart objects, like a counter that's going to automatically increase in number as more labels are printed, and the date and time, so that we're not having to change physically the actual date and time that's in the software every time we go to use it. And what I really like is the barcode feature. And so the barcode feature allows you to put in intelligent mailing label barcodes, but if you double click on this, you'll notice that there is actually quite a large number of standards that you can select from, so that you can hopefully integrate this with the software that you have. Now again, talking about productivity, if you're going to purchase this on the basis of needing to use the barcodes, you're going to want to make sure that the standards in here match the standards of other software that you've already bought, or if you don't already have software in place, you'll want to make sure the other software you buy can work with some of these standards. So there you go. We've designed a very simple shipping label. We can even throw some clip art on there if we'd like. So what's the next step? Well, obviously we want to be putting the address information in and the important stuff that needs to be printed on the label coming from a database. So let's increase this address size here and take a look at how that works. Now, we're not going to look at the address book first. We'll get to that in a minute. The other option is simply to go File, and we can emerge print from a database. So we're going to select that option. You'll see I've already got a sample data sheet here. Because I've opened the sheet, when I say Next, it's going to automatically pull up the list of the people, so I'm not going to have to reset everything every time I enter the software. Again, what we really like about this product is that it has some really nice, simple user workflows. So I might say that I don't want to see Jane Doe's address print, but I'd like to see John Smith, and I click Print, and then away we go. But in this case, let's say I want to put some different information on. I just click the back button, and now that lets me really easily again decide what fields I want to use. I can use Auto to pull them all over, And then I can also just use the backspace key to make the spacing a little bit more appropriate. And perhaps we don't want that phone number, I just have to delete it. So you can see that just in a matter of a few seconds, I've actually been able to take my own custom Excel document. You can also use comma-separated files and appropriately set up text files. I've been able to say what fields from that document I want to have included on my label, and then I can just click Next. I would print those off, and we'd be done. So there you have it. It's a pretty simple piece of software. The final thing you might want to do if you were to look at using this is to go ahead and develop an address book within the actual software, and you can use your Outlook contacts if that's something that you're using already, or you can build one of the Dymo address books. So now let's switch back to the actual hardware and take a look at how it prints.
Now, as you can see, we've got two labels printed out in a blink of an eye. The printing quality is extremely crisp. The speed is fast, but what we like best about this particular machine is just how we can see so many ways to enhance productivity, whether it's bookkeepers preparing invoices or sending out mailings, doing pricing labels. You can also add some quality control features and work a little bit less ad hoc in places like the shipping department by adding checklists and different things with this label printer. The Dymo LabelWriter 450 Turbo is an interesting little piece of equipment. It's not very expensive, and what we really like about it is the opportunity for it to make you more productive in your day-to-day business.